This is the second of 3 seminars we hold every summer here at the city. My name is Brian Deerwalker. I'll be introducing our speaker in a moment, but as usual, I have a couple of announcements first. In the back, there's some cookies and water. Help yourself. Also, I think everyone filled out a door prize drawing. And what we do is draw at the end for 2 Home Depot gift cards. 2 names we draw, each get a $25 card there. So, also, it's 1 per household, and you have to be present to win that. So, also, because I'm with the Housing and Redevelopment Authority here, we're housed in Bloomington, or we're officed here. I got to put a shameless plug in for our agency. We have home improvement loans that if you're income eligible and have equity in your home, it's available to you if you're a Bloomington resident. Income limits and equity requirements do apply, but we have information over here. If you are interested, bloomingtonmn.gov, and put in keywords. You can put in housing rehab, home improvement, just about anything housing related, and our programs will pop up. Also, the seminars that we do 3 every year in the summer. You can look up more information by putting keyword seminar on that same website. You can find out more information about that. So, with that, okay, we have Bob Davis from Window Outfitters, and Bob's been in the business
15 years.
15 years. He's got a lot of knowledge about any kind of home improvements, I'm sure. But today we're talking about siding. So, with that, Bob, I'll just turn it over to you.
All right, thanks, Brian.
You bet.
All right, I'm going to keep this rather informal today. I thought what I'd do to start with is just kind of do a overview of the various types of siding that we find most used in today's marketplace. And so what I'm going to start with is vinyl siding. And this would be basically in the vinyl siding arena. You have what's called a Dutch lap double four, or just a Dutch lap, or just a double four. So this would be your basic siding options. The colors they're offered in from one vendor that we happen to handle. But this would be your entry-level product as far as siding your home is concerned when you get the vinyl siding. Most of the homes that we've seen in Bloomington have masonite, which is a synthetic product that's kind of like chalkboard almost. It starts to disintegrate after a number of years and it gets soft and mushy. Or you might have some kind of a cedar siding on your house, or you might have T111. I don't know what you have on your homes today, but we're replacing that kind of siding with vinyl siding many times. And you have different grades of vinyl siding. If you want to come up and look at the end, this premium point is the one that the city of Bloomington requires that we put on homes if you're siding under one of their programs. The reason being it's an 046 thickness, which means it's basically about as thick as you can get with a vinyl siding product, but doesn't have any insulation behind it. And so this is the product you'd be using if you get some financing, let's say from the city of Bloomington, and you wanted to go with vinyl. It would have to be this thickness. This also holds up fairly well against hailstorms. You have different options. You can do different designs with it. This is like a board and batten design, but we can do all kinds of design things with vinyl siding. We can put shakes in the peaks of the house and so on, so we can do all kinds of design-ish things with it. These are what the shakes look like. I'm just going to leave these out up here. You're welcome to come up afterward and look at them. The next step up in a vinyl siding product would be an insulated vinyl. It comes in a little thicker profile, has insulation behind it, gives you more of an insulating factor when the product's on the home, quiets the home down, and makes it a product that has a warranty against hail even though it is vinyl. So you can stand with a baseball bat and hit this and you'd be hard pressed to crack it. It's a very solid, durable, sturdy product.
So the other ones can't take hail?
They do not have a warranty against hail. No vinyl siding product, unless it's insulated, has a hail warranty on it.
Is there a factor, an insulation usually a factor on it? Is that?
Pardon me? The U factor?
Yeah.
4 or a 5.
4 or 5. Okay, thank you.
What does that mean?
That means that when you insulate your home, in your attic today, you have to have an R13 or an R, have you maybe heard that term? It's the amount of heat or air that it will keep in the home when you insulate the attic. Well, when you put the insulation on the side of the home, behind the vinyl, that also adds an insulation factor to the home. Will reduce your air conditioning bill in the summer and your heating bill in the winter. It'll quiet the home down from any noise from the exterior. That's what that means, that's what that is. Then in today's, and then I've got some of the fancy things that you can do with vinyl up here, so be happy to cover those with you. At the end, when we break, just come up and take a look and we can go through them. There's another product on the market today called LP Smart Side, which is an engineered wood product. It's more of an OSB product, in my opinion. It has paint on the front of it, but it's a very popular product that's being marketed in the Minnesota especially today. It's made up in Two Harbors, and it's from Louisiana Pacific, and it's a product they've engineered that's caught on with contractors and has some boride in it to prevent, supposedly to prevent bugs and insects from getting into it. Supposedly holds up well in water. It's a competitor to James Hardie cement siding, if you've heard of the Hardie terminology. James Hardie puts a product out that we use a lot. It's made out of Portland cement, among other things, and it goes on the house, and it's basically impervious to anything out there. No bugs are going to get into it. No hail is going to damage it. We just recently went through a major hailstorm up in Blaine, Minnesota. And if any of you have been up there and driven through, you've seen it. It looks like a war zone. The side of the home, the west side of every home up there, if it had vinyl siding on it, it's gone. It's either full of holes or just shredded. There's just pieces of vinyl hanging on the side of the house. Those that had the Hardie siding on it, no damage, none.
What's the percentage cost difference as you progress through each of these?
Good question. About, I'd say, 35% more to go to an LP or a Hardie product. These, LP and Hardie, are going to be virtually the same price today.
How about the vinyl insulated?
Vinyl insulated is about 15% upcharge, 15 to 20. Actually, your insulated vinyl is going to be very close in price to LP or to James Hardie cement side. The wrap that we use today when we do homes, when we do Hardie, we use Hardie wrap, which is a product designed specifically for James Hardie. Doesn't tear. We can nail on it anywhere. It's a very durable wrap. It has a very high rating as far as durability is concerned. And we also use green wrap. When we get into the vinyl siding, we use Tyvek or green wrap. All of these are excellent products as well. So when we side a home, basically the first thing that has to happen by code today is we have to tear off all the siding you presently have in your home. We can't side over existing siding. And usually there's only one layer of siding we have to remove. So we remove that siding. Behind the siding, depending upon the age of your house, there probably is no wrap. There may not even be any tar paper. There may just be the sheathing. We inspect that sheathing. We replace any of it that's damaged. And then we have to wrap the home. So the house wrap comes into play there. The house has to be entirely wrapped to meet code today. And once the house is wrapped, then we can side it with whatever product you've selected. If you're going to do windows at the same time you're doing siding, or if you're going to do windows, a good time to do them is at the same time you're doing the siding, because we can do the best job installing windows if we've got the siding off the home and we can put the windows in as though it was a brand new construction home. Properly taping them, sealing them, foaming them, that type of thing. So if you're going to side your home and you need windows, a good time to look at both is at the time you're considering the siding. That being said, many times we do siding 1 year and 3 years later we do windows, or vice versa. So it's a matter of what you want to do with your house, what your budget is, how you want to approach it.
Is there anything you should consider or be on the lookout for if you're not doing windows as well, if you're just doing the siding?
Well, if you have, not really, no.
Okay.
No. It's easy to side a home and keep the existing windows. I would probably, at the very least, picture frame your windows if you don't have trim around them now. So what I'm saying is, if your present windows have siding that runs right up to the edge of the window, when you reside, I would picture frame the window, which basically means doing something like this, where we put some kind of a trim around your window, and then side up to that trim, which would enable us 5 years down the road to replace your windows a lot easier. We just remove that picture framing. We can replace the window and then put the picture framing back up, and you get a complete install that way. So that would be about the main thing I would consider. When you do a house, you can look at doing board and batten, for instance, in the gables, shakes in the gables, and lap siding on the surface. So you can do a design that way that kind of makes your house stamp out a bit. You can change the colors from the gables to the main floors of the home. So those are all things you can do to make the house look different than it did before you sided or re-sided it. Some of the things we look for are any rot. When we get the siding off, you may have rot around your existing windows, then we have to treat that special. We have to really replace all of that before we can re-side your home. So it just depends on the condition of the window sills, let's say, in the home. Before we side it, we would have to fix those if they're rotted or if there's any rot in that respect. Yes, sir?
A home, you know, if you're, at the time you're re-siding, and in our case, I guess, the insulation factor within the walls, I don't think is that good. Is that a good time? Could you, from the outside, go in and use like a foam process or something to fill in all the voids? Is that something you get involved with?
Good question. So the question is, if you're re-siding and your insulation in the walls of your house isn't maybe up to what you'd like to see it today, is that a good time to do the insulation
And
before
can you
you
do it from the
re-side?
exterior?
Pardon me?
And you can do it from
You can do it from the exterior. So what happens is we don't do it.
Right.
We work with companies that do it.
Okay.
Or you may have somebody you know who does it, but the best time to do that then would be when the siding's off, before we wrap the house. They come in, drill the holes, do the insulation, then we come back and wrap the house and side the house.
And can they do a really good job if they can't actually see? Do they just have to drill enough holes? I mean, is that very successful?
Yeah, the
I can
foam
imagine-
insulation
I can
that you-
imagine voids being lapped, big voids and things if you're not good at
no.
it, but they've got that down?
They've gotten that down to a very good science. They
Okay.
can do an excellent job.
Good.
We did a home in Edina now in South Minneapolis, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago now. We took all the siding off and there was no sheathing behind it. It was just exposed inside. I mean, it was an old, 1911 house. So we had to put new sheathing on. In that particular case, we insulated it from the exterior before we put the sheathing on. We've also done homes in South Minneapolis where there was sheathing. We took the siding off, they came and drilled the holes. You have two types of insulation. You can either do a blown-in insulation or you can foam it. I'd say today foam insulation to me is absolutely the best you can do. That crawls everywhere. You don't have to worry about any gaps with that. That'll fill everything. So,
So the short answer is yes, it's a good time.
yep, best time to insulate your home if you don't think it's up to code or how you want it now would be when you're siding, before the siding goes up. Yeah. Yes.
When you talk about siding your home, you're talking about the fascia boards and everything.
Everything. Yes, good question, Ron. The fascia, when you side the house, you've got, this is called fascia, the trim that goes around the absolute edge of the house that the gutters may attach to, or that are just there for trim. And then the soffit, the other part of the house is soffit. And the soffit is the part of the home that you see underneath the fascia. So some homes have very deep soffits, some homes have only a 1 foot soffit, some have maybe a 6-inch soffit, but that still has to be done at the same time we side unless it's in good shape now. And we usually use an aluminum soffit, and it's a vented soffit, and it can be hidden or it can be visible, doesn't matter. Many different colors, it's aluminum, and we put that over the soffit that you have now, and then we wrap the fascia in an aluminum wrap as well. And we replace any rotten fascia that may be hanging on the house before we wrap it.
Another question, you mentioned vinyl and you mentioned
Smart side.
smart
not
siding and
being-
so forth. You didn't mention aluminum siding or steel siding.
Right.
Do you not represent those lines or
Aluminum siding basically today is, I don't know anybody using it. There are a few companies that will put it up, but that is guaranteed to need some kind of work down the road. Dense, same with steel. It's just with the technology that we have in vinyl siding, and with the LP Smart Side and the cement siding, not much steel siding or aluminum siding going on today.
What about wood? Like
Yeah, wood's certainly an option if you want to. That's the most expensive siding you can put on a house, cedar siding, that kind of thing. Again, with the technology of smart side and cement siding and vinyl siding, most people today want to look like wood, but they want no maintenance or little maintenance.
And less price, it's less price.
Lower price, yeah. But there are some homes that will keep the cedar siding no matter what. That is a siding that we can do patchwork on. If cedar siding has some bad planks in it, we can come in and just fix those individual
Do
planks.
you recommend people doing that? Because I've had people, I have a cedar house and it's never been treated, it's just raw cedar. And then everyone that comes up to my house says to just take it all off.
That's what we'd recommend too. But some people want to keep the cedar. You know, siding is personal, windows are personal, just like everything inside the house, or the landscaping outside the house. So people, many times we'll do a home where we'll do the front in Hardie, or LP Smart Side, and we'll do the sides in vinyl. So the facing part of the house faces the street, the snap part that everybody sees, that'll have a different siding on it than the other
So it
three.
doesn't match? People will do that and it won't match?
Well, it's pretty close to match. You can get colors of the vinyl that are going to be very similar to the LP or the James Hardie.
And it really makes that much of a price difference?
Well, it depends on the siding you select. If it's just a double 4 in vinyl and an 046, yes, that would be significantly less than James Hardie on your entire house. Well, and that depends on the number of squares. We put siding on a house and price siding by what's called a square, a 10 by 10 section, 100 square.
That's what I was thinking.
So if you have a 15 square house, we just did a proposal for a lady in St. Louis Park. Her house is 15 squares, her garage is 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Well, by the time you price out all three, vinyl, LP Smart Side, or Hardie, the price is so close that, you know, she's really having a tough decision deciding which one to use. But if you have 40 squares, something like that on a house, very, very significant difference in price.
What's the complication, you know, with an older home, wondering about the paint, if you've got to remove it and there's lead in the paint, how does that dealt with?
Let me see if I understand your question.
If your house is lead-based paint and you want to have the siding removed and replaced?
Yeah, we're lead certified. You have to have a contractor that's lead certified.
Yeah,
So we just have to remove it according to EPA standards, which means we have to lay out
poly.
we have to have a dumpster that's just certified for lead, or a lead certified dumpster, which basically means we're not gonna put anything else in it.
Is that a big upcharge too? Is that a lot
Pardon
more
me?
expensive? Is that a lot more expensive?
There's a charge for it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's more expensive. Same be true of windows. If we're working on your home and we test it for lead and it has lead present, then we charge you for removing the windows in a lead-safe manner. And so, that's a good question.
Can the homeowner do it themselves?
Remove,
Like, let's say you come out and test and you say you have lead in there and we're gonna charge you this much, can the homeowner just do it themselves?
yes.
That's what I thought. Okay. And you should do it according to however they say to do it with lead.
Yes, should. The EPA regulations on lead have come about over the last few years because lead is very toxic. And about the only ones that there have been some inner city homes that have been tested, the children have been tested, and they have a very high content of lead in their blood. I don't see that much in the suburbs. I do see it if you have lead and you have cat. Cats are the ones that are most susceptible to it. They'll chew on anything and lead will kill them. It doesn't take much, but just enough in your palm of your hand. If a cat eats that much lead, they're gone. They're that usually gone.
Is this LP siding maintenance free? I mean, when you look at the back side of it, it looks like particle board.
The only maintenance-free, truly maintenance-free siding is vinyl. Steel, I guess you could say, was truly maintenance-free. Aluminum, you could say, was truly maintenance-free. However, I have seen steel and aluminum siding shed the paint. And then you have a problem.
Is this vinyl siding, is the paint throughout, or can you scrape it off?
No, it's throughout. So when you select a color or colors, those are your colors. And so that would be the advantage. The big advantage of vinyl siding is that it is truly maintenance-free. The next best product you can put on a house from a warranty standpoint is James Hardie. That has a 30-year warranty, 200% from the factory, meaning they'll replace the product and they'll pay for the labor to do it if the product fails. The paint, if you have them painted with what they call Color Plus, at the factory, they put a 15-year warranty on the paint as well. And that's non-prorated, 15-year warranty. So they have the best warranty in the business with a product that you have paint on. LP SmartSide does not paint their product. So when you buy an LP product, you have to have it painted by someone. I have some examples up here. Lyman Lumber here in town, they have a big paint facility. They'll paint their Hardie and they put their LP and they'll put a warranty on it. Wausau Supply has a product called Diamond Coat, which is a very durable paint. They'll paint the LP with. But the problem there is you have one company with the paint warranty, another company with the product warranty, and you have a third factor there, and that's the installer. Because if you don't install according to best practices, then you have an issue there as well. So all siding companies have what's called the best practices manual. Those of us who work with the various vendors like Hardie, we go to school every year. My crews go to school every year for any changes that have come up. Or the installer or the company will come out and deal with us at our facility and tell us the changes. But these manuals, the one thing about Hardie is their manuals are very complete. When you go through this, there isn't anything that isn't covered. It has to be followed to the T when we install Hardie for the warranty to be valid. And that's very important. LP is the same way. There's certain things you have to do with LP. If you don't follow their practices, any problems come up later on, you void the warranty. There's individual differences between James Hardie and LP SmartSide that we can get into if you were considering them in your siding process that I think are extremely important. But they're both good products properly applied to the house. Yes,
What kind of R factor does the smart boards or the smart siding?
I would say 1, maybe 2. Hardie's same thing, 1, maybe 2, not
So
much.
it's not as much as the insulated?
No, because there's no insulation going up with it, so they're just going on your home. They're more insulation than you'd have with vinyl without an insulator behind it, but less than an insulated vinyl product.
So for pricing, it's basically the first vinyl you showed us, then goes up a little bit when you do the insulated. And then insulated and LP and cement are all pretty much similar in price,
Yes.
depending on the size of them.
Product price, yes. Application, not the same. Costs me less money to pay a crew to put insulated vinyl up than it does to put LP or Hardie on your home. So you're going to notice a little difference in my price to you as a result of that. Okay? But product pricing is going to be very similar between those three. Yes, sir.
You're talking about the practices for application. Does that apply for painting to them, like for Hardie board and LP? Do you have to have a?
If you have a painter come and paint it after we put it on the house primed,
Yeah. I mean, does it have to be an approved painter, or?
the only warranty you'd get then would be from the paint company that you use for the paint. Okay? So we recommend Sherwin-Williams Duration as the paint goes on. And there are some painters authorized by Sherwin-Williams to paint the house. That's the way I do it. But keep in mind, when you take prime siding and put it up and paint it on the house, you're losing at least 20% of your product when it's going on your home. You're not getting an even coating, and depending on the day that siding or that paint goes on, you could have a different look in the paint from day to day to day that would continue throughout the life that paint's on your home. I don't recommend painting anything on the house.
Versus having it done before it gets
Right.
at one of those.
Right. If you were to tell me you wanted me to sell you prime siding and put it on your house, I'd say thanks, but find a different contractor.
Well, then if if Hardie board paints it, then would you say there's parts of my house where I need to have it painted? Because I got cinder
We do that
blocks.
when we put it up.
Okay.
So if you have parts of your home that you want to keep that need to be painted, to match the Hardie we're putting on,
Right.
we come and do that. We use Sherwin-Williams duration, and then we'll warranty our painting work at the time we do that.
You said that the only maintenance free is the vinyl. So what maintenance do you need to do for the James Hardie and LP? Is that painting after 15 years or?
Right, with LP, you have to, if you read their warranty, you have to inspect it for bugs, mold, mildew on an annual basis, okay?
Have someone come out and do it?
Well, however you want it done.
You can say you do it yourself.
You
Say,
can.
yeah, I looked around, there are no bugs, that's
Yep, I
fine.
mean, it's a lousy warranty. Their warranty is the worst warranty in the business.
Okay?
They won't even, they don't have a warranty on their product in states that are very moist, like Oregon. They don't give you a warranty. You can buy the product in Oregon, but they won't warranty them. Washington State, they don't warranty it. It's very susceptible to termites. And they don't warranty it with termites either, as long as they don't do damage to your product, they say. I don't know how they determine that.
And that's LP?
Yeah. I just think their warranty is the worst in the industry.
Is that relatively new, LP?
Came out in the 90s, but they've really, in the last 10 years, they've had a real hard push here. The beauty of LP, I'm a contractor, the beauty of LP is at 16-foot lengths, you have less seams. You have to keep them 1/4 of an inch apart, because if you butt them together, they swell and they'll buckle. Okay? But the beauty is 16-foot lengths, supposedly you have less seams in your home. It's lighter. I can cut it with a saw. I don't need special tooling. I mean, when I got into the Hardie business, I spent several $1,000s getting everything set up to handle cement siding. It's a special product. And we cut our Hardie with a guillotine, so we don't have silica dust all over the place. But you know, you have to handle it properly. When you're cutting LP, you're supposed to wear a mask as well, because the sawdust, the shavings can create a lung problem for you as well. But it's about, in the 90s, they really got a push on it. They had a previous product made out of OSB that totally failed on it. They had a $1 billion lawsuit they had to sell. I'm just not a big believer in putting that product on the house. I try and talk all my prospects out of it, quite
The
frankly.
LP?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think it's a proven product. I just don't think it's proven yet. I've seen woodpeckers attack it. I've seen it buckle when installed it properly. That being said, if it's installed properly, I think it'll probably perform.
Well, that's why I want to get away from cedar, because I don't want the animals back in the house.
Exactly.
And then you're telling me now that I'd have the problem with that product.
With LP.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Vinyl you wouldn't. When we use vinyl, we put either vinyl trim up on the corners, or we use Hardie or some kind of a synthetic AZAC trim. So.
So this just seems easy. Why would anyone do anything but vinyl? Vinyl's cheaper, vinyl doesn't have maintenance, vinyl doesn't have problems, vinyl's insulated, vinyl's cheaper to put in.
It looks fine.
So it doesn't make
Yeah, yeah.
It's just the look.
The look.
more.
Is there any color fade issue?
Yep.
Vinyl?
Oxidizes, comes off in your hand.
You can't paint it. So if you have damage to it,
You just replace it.
5 years from now, you've got a young son out in the yard, and he takes a bat, hits it, and the ball hits the vinyl and breaks a couple of pieces, and you want to replace it. You can't do it without seeing the fade factor. Vinyl is not a bad product to put on the house. It's a look, and it depends on your home, whether vinyl fits your house, or whether LP might fit your house, or whether Hardie will fit your house, or whether the insulated vinyl fits your house. It's a look, and you have to see that. We have software at the office. When we do a bid, we actually show you that product on your house. We take pictures of your home, and then we put that siding on your house so you can see what it looks like. You want to have double 4, we'll put it on there. You want to have insulated 7-inch, we'll put it on there. You want to have Hardie, you want to have LP, we put it on the house, and you can see what it looks like on your home. You don't like the color, we can change the color. So we can do all that ahead of time. It's an expensive process to side your house. You better see what it looks like before you actually get it done. Because once it's done, you can't change it.
James Hardie has some lawsuits out too, don't they?
They had some, not anything of significant value in the early days. Hardie's on version 7 of the product. It's been re-engineered 7 times for climate control. So today we have HZ5 for this part of the country, which is an engineered product for our hot and cold climate. Down south, they have a whole different product that they put on homes because it's engineered for the hot climate, so the continual 120-degree temperatures and so on a consistent basis.
Can the Hardie be painted?
It can be. Yep.
Because I have seen insulation where it's on a garage where it hits a cement slab, the water, goes back against the garage, and it's discolored and
Yep.
paint
Yep.
coming out that looks terrible. And I thought it was maintenance free, but that's,
No, there's certain things when you follow best practices with Hardie, we can't take it any closer to the ground than 6 inches. Okay? So water, any kind of splashing will create problems with, so will with LP. So on garage bucks where we have to run to the ground, the trim around your garage door, we use AZAC, or a maintenance-free product for that. So trimming on homes is done in different ways. This is an example of LP right here. You have the oak look or the cedar look on one side and the smooth look on the other. This is Hardie. This is the cedar look on one side. They also have a smooth trim you can use. This is synthetic. This is impervious to anything and it's paintable. So when we use synthetic trim, we usually go with a product that's paintable unless you want white trim, because not all synthetics will accept paint.
And is that what you use for the framing, or do you use the chosen siding, such as if you choose?
Framing meaning
Around windows and
around the windows, this is what we would use. We'd use one of these products right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mean like brick molding, is that what you're talking about?
Pardon me?
Brick molding?
So like PVC.
Brick mold, yes, or 1x4 trim, picture frame as they call it, the trim around the window. Yep.
Yeah.
Trim around the door.
Yeah.
We can use a synthetic brick mold as well. Sometimes on windows, we just put brick mold back up and we wrap it in aluminum too, which is another way to trim a window or trim a door.
What's the purpose of wrapping anyway? Is that?
To prevent it from needing paint every 5 to 10 years. So we wrap a piece of wood in aluminum, it's maintenance free. Basically, you've got yourself a piece of trim that's not going to need any maintenance as long as it's up there. That's a hailstorm comes through. Then it's going to get all dented, it has to be removed and retrimmed.
So really quick, let's just go over the pros and cons of each. Vinyl,
Vinyl is maintenance free. So the pro of vinyl is it's maintenance free. It basically that's the biggest advantage of it. Okay, it's maintenance free, and the price. Okay, from my standpoint, it's very inexpensive for me to apply. So I can do more homes with vinyl siding in the same amount of time than I can with LP Smart Side or with James Hardie. The con of vinyl, or the negatives on vinyl, would be it's a look a lot of people don't like. You have a limited number of designs you can get with it. I mean, you've got double 4 Dutch lap. If you don't like that, you've got double 4. You can go with a wider look when you go to insulated vinyl, maybe a 7-inch exposure. But there's a limited look you can get from it. There are different colors. Okay, these are all various colors we can get with one vinyl line. So a good advantage of vinyl is there's lots of colors available, and you can design it so that you go with a different color in the gables than you do on the main part of the house. So that's a plus for it. The maintenance on vinyl, all the vendors say is usually when it rains, it cleans itself. If you want to do anything to vinyl, you just clean it once a year with a hose and a brush.
no, I know you represent one line of vinyl.
Well, I represent many, but I didn't bring them all. I'd have
Okay,
to bring
so,
back my picture.
but I mean, is there a sales pitch on this line of vinyl versus that line of vinyl, or vinyl?
Each vinyl manufacturer would tell you their product is better than the other, so all I do is print the warranties out and read the warranties. They all have the same fade factor pretty much today to remain competitive in the marketplace. So Mastic is another vinyl product that we sell. Crane by Royal is the other one we sell. The ones that are, there are others, there's Allside has a vinyl product called, can't think of it right now, but yeah, there's several different lines out there. But in the end, it's going to be, their warranties are all similar, their looks are all similar. So
those other cons you didn't say, the fading and the no paint thing. Those are the only cons though, really?
Well, if a hailstorm comes through and you've got that on your house, it's gonna damage
The line,
the vinyl,
unless it's insulated.
unless it's insulated. Then your chances of it being damaged are significantly reduced, and the warranty says that you have to go to your homeowner's insurance first if there's damage, and what they don't cover, the vinyl company will cover. Okay, so,
So then what are the pros and cons of the other two?
well, the pros and cons of Smart Side, in my opinion, are yet to be determined. I don't believe this product, I don't believe an OSB type product with the various components they have built into it and the glues and so on, and the paint that has to be put on it by a third-party painter. I don't believe this product is a proven product yet to go on a house over time. Okay?
What does OSB mean?
OSB is just an engineered wood product. See how it's all chips of wood there and it's put together under pressure? And there's a glue in there, and there's a boric oxide. There's a number of things they've done to this to make it supposedly resistant to bugs and termites and that type of thing. And this product to me on the house looks just like vinyl. I mean, once this is on the house, it looks like vinyl. It's very, very, it's very bright. It's very glossy.
Non-natural.
Right, right. Now, they would say it has a better cedar look than the Hardie does. So there you get into the personal opinion. Hardie, this is the cedar look of Hardie. So this is the cedar look of of LP Smart Side. The advantage of Hardie is they're a multi-billion-dollar company. They've got a huge research and development facility where they are constantly testing their product. If there's something they find that's wrong with it, they improve it. They do the painting on the product. It's a baked-on 3-coat process. It's Portland cement is the main component in their product, and their warranty is the best in the business. Disadvantage would be the paint will only be warranted for 15 years. So you are going to have to paint this product, as you will LP Smart Side, after a period of time. So it will be having some maintenance to it after 15 years. Okay?
Does that paint have to be
Paint.
certified Hardie painter to keep the?
It doesn't have to be a certified Hardie. I don't even know if there is such a thing as a certified Hardie painter. There's Sherwin-Williams has painters they will recommend to you that deal with Hardie and do paint with their product all the
But
time.
I think she's wondering, will you ruin your 30-year warranty if you paint it 15 years in?
No, you don't ruin the 30-year warranty because that's on the substrate. That's on the plank itself that
Okay.
goes up. But after 15 years, your paint warranty's gone anyway. So you just repaint your house at that point in time, and you'd have the warranty of Sherwin-Williams, which is another 15 years if you use their paints and it's applied properly.
For contractor's sake, what are some red flags when you're meeting with a contractor? What are some red flags once you say, okay, you're not, or the company that I want to go with?
I tell people this, always get 3 quotes. Never get just one. If you tell me you're going to get 15, I'll say have a nice day. So I don't have time for that. I'd say check the contractor out on the Better Business Bureau. You just go out to bbb.org and you'll be able to find out all you want to know about every contractor in Minnesota. Go to the Department of Labor and Industry and see if there's any lawsuits against the contractor. See if he's licensed. Do a search on the contractor's name. See if the Department of Labor and Industry, who is the licensing entity within the state of Minnesota, that we all have to renew our licenses with every 2 years.
How about the city of Bloomington? Do they have contractors?
City of Bloomington, is everyone in here in the city of Bloomington? I would assume probably. Well, the city of Bloomington, they have their list of approved contractors if you're going to do business with them through their loan process, and they'll give that to you. And those contractors have all done work and had good results. Okay. Another place I go is Angie's List or Home Advisor, either one. Angie's List happens to be my favorite. Now they're the same because Home Advisor bought Angie's List, so I don't know what's going to happen there. We happen to belong to a association or association called Guild Quality. And Guild Quality is who I use to survey all my customers. So when we finish a job, you get an electronic survey from Guild Quality. And that's how I keep an eye on what's going on in my marketplace with my salespeople and my installers. And if there's any bad comment on there, I'm on the phone to you immediately. And what that does is compare me to every other contractor in my category in the United States, so I know how I'm doing against my peers. That's good for me, and also it gives you the ability to express yourself on the type of work we've done. And I'd say a little bit of it might be gut feel, referrals, anybody that you've talked to. But I definitely would check the contractor out. Okay? In James Hardie's world, we're an alliance partner with James Hardie, so we have to be trained by them annually and recertified every year. LP SmartSide doesn't have a program like that yet, and none of the vinyl companies.
Can you buy James Hardie, like in a contractor, buy James Hardie and not, put it onto his house without being, yeah, I think he's certified?
Yeah, the question is, can a contractor buy James Hardie and put it on your house without being certified by Hardie? Absolutely.
Okay.
Because we all buy our Hardie product from a few suppliers here in the Twin Cities. Any contractor can go to those suppliers and buy the product.
But will it be warranty
If it's not applied properly according to the best practices by any of these companies, your warranty is void if you read the warranty.
So how can we, how can we verify that this contractor is a James Hardie certified contractor?
Ask them.
Ask James Hardie.
Okay,
We're on the Hardie website as an example.
okay.
LP has a website where there's a lot of contractors on it. Not so much with the vinyl companies. The products you have to worry about are Hardie and LP SmartSide, because if they're not applied properly, they're going to fail on your house. And so you want to make sure you have somebody who knows how to put those products up according to the best practices of that company. And you can't ask enough questions. In the proposal process, I can guarantee you that if you asked me for a proposal, if one of my people came into your home to give you a proposal, I'll guarantee you my proposal will be as good or better than any proposal you've ever gotten in anything you've looked for. We spend the time to do it right. We don't try and close you the night you call us into your house. We spend the time to measure it right, to get all the details down, and we put it in writing. We put a whole scope of work in writing. That's what I would look for from every contractor that you brought in your house, a scope of work. What are you going to do for me? How are you going to do it? Because it doesn't matter. You can buy any of these products from a contractor, and they could be the best products out there. If they're not put on right, you're going to have a bad install. That's where you hear the horror stories about James Hardie, lawsuits come up. LP SmartSide, let's say, lawsuits have come up. That's where you hear about it. It's people that put up wrong. Contractors have put it up wrong, and the whole industry gets a bad rap for it, and the vendor gets a bad rap for it. Just make sure whoever you work with is totally skilled and knowledgeable on the best practices of the company that you sold, the siding product that you select. References, we give you references. We've got references up the wazoo.
Especially when you do with vinyl and you do the fascia, you just put the new vinyl over the present wood fascia.
No, we use aluminum.
Aluminum.
We always use aluminum. There is a vinyl fascia. I don't like it. So we always use aluminum fascia and soffit, even when we do a vinyl siding job.
So you get rid of all the old wood.
Not necessarily. If the wood's in good shape, we cut the vents open. First of all, you have to have good soffit vents in your attic, or those vents don't mean anything, because if they're all plugged, they aren't doing anything. But we cut the vents open, and then we put the vented soffit, aluminum soffit, over the existing wood that's there.
Okay, so then for LP Smart and J Hardie, you take the old stuff off and you just put that on.
Actually, we recommend that you stick with aluminum on both of those.
All right? Okay.
Yep. Hardie has a soffit product. It's okay. Some people want to have a total Hardie house. We use it. I still think you get a better soffit fascia if we do aluminum on the soffit fascia. That's my opinion. We've done both. LP does not have soffit fascia, so we use aluminum with that no matter what.
Do
you guys do this all year round? In the middle of winter, you'll side a house, do windows? Do your
Well, we
prices
don't
come
do it
down
if
in the
it's-
winter?
Pardon me?
Do your prices come down in the winter?
No.
Because you don't have as much business?
No. Good try.
Okay.
It takes us longer to do a job in the winter.
So
In
do
the
you
summertime,
charge
we
more
can
then?
do, in the summertime, when we're doing windows, we can do 7 to 12 windows a day. Typically. In the wintertime, we maybe get 4 to 5.
So do you charge more then?
No, prices don't change.
Why does it take longer?
Because we can't take 5 windows out at a time. It freezes to death. We can only take 1 out at a time. So we have to, when we're doing windows in the wintertime, we never want to have that opening, that window opening more than 3 minutes from the time we take the old one out till the time we put the new one in. We try not to have more than a 3-minute lapse there because it's just, and we don't work if it's 10 degrees or colder, we don't work. Nothing works when it's that cold. Below 0, we don't work. Nothing works. Caulk doesn't come out. We have to have caulk tubes that we keep in, we either keep inside your house or we keep in what we call heat boxes because it won't flow if it's cold. The wrap we put around windows won't stick right if it's too cold. Now, usually I'd say the months of December and January, we don't get much done. If you see people putting windows in when it's 10 below 0, just laugh because those windows, those are the ones we get calls on 5 years later and there's wind blowing through them. Nobody can understand why. Foam, we foam windows to insulate them today. If you put foam in when it's usually 10 degrees or colder, it turns to powder. So even though it looks like foam's going around the window, if you go in and take the casing off of the inside in the summertime, it'll be nothing but powder laying around.
So then you're telling us never buy a home that's built in winter?
If they're building it in the wintertime,
They don't have heat in it, but all that foam and all that, that's the same characteristics.
if they're putting the windows in the wintertime and they're doing it when it's 18 degrees or warmer, you're okay. But if you see people putting windows in when it's 20 below, there's no way those windows are properly insulated. I guarantee you, there's not. We were just at a home down in Lonsdale. You can stand in front of the window, you can see light. It was just terrible. It's just, no. No, I'd say when the home goes up in the winter, they can side it, they can frame it, they can insulate it, with the big foam, the insulating foam for homes today. But when it comes to the technical work of putting windows in and doors in, you better be doing it on a day that's fairly warm.
10 degrees or higher.
That's my rule.
If you would want to be out there, they don't want to be out there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they like, my crews like working when it's 18 to 20 degrees out. They're wearing long johns and nothing else. They don't have coats on. They like working in that weather. When it gets to 20 below 0, no. I've got another business where we do garage interiors. We do garage floors, and put coating on garage floors, and we put cabinets and so on in garages. My crews are Puerto Rican. They leave December 1st to go back to Puerto Rico. So we don't pick that up again until March. So December, January, and February are the worst months in Minnesota.
Question I have, if you were gonna do siding, that'd be the time to do the gutters also.
Yes,
So do you have gutter people that?
we do.
Saw
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And gutters are a whole different ballgame. You have to figure out what you want for gutters, because you can pay $35 a foot for a gutter, or you can pay $12. It's just a matter of what you want for a gutter. So there's many different gutter companies out there. Yes.
So if you hire, decided you wanted to do siding and windows, can you have can you make one window, like in the kitchen, bigger than it is?
Yes.
Is this the time to do it, or do you have to hire somebody else to do that?
No, it's the time to do it. That's the time we do it. If you were to call me and say, I have one window I want made bigger, I'd say call a handyman. Give you a couple of companies that we know will do it. But if we're doing your siding job, my carpenters are all skilled carpenters, licensed in their own right. So that'd be the time to do it, if you wanted, when we're doing all of them, yes.
If you were to have brick put on, say, the front of the house and then something else the rest of the way around, do you have to go to different companies? And if so,
No, you're a good straight person for me. I didn't bring this up. We do stone fascias as well. And you can do it either with a stone mason where you do individual pieces of stone or brick or whatever you select, Or there's this product that we use called Versetta Stone, and it comes in different designs, and we can put this on like siding. So we can show you what the homes that have it on look like. These are before and after pictures, but it's a good look and it goes up easy and easier than having a stonemason on it. So there would be that would be an after picture, and this would be the before picture of that house. You can pass these around, but there's just many different things you can do with stone that change the look of the front of a house, and that's something else you can do at the time you're siding is maybe select the stone, you know, on part of the front of your house, that kind of thing. So
How do you take off the old stuff that's on there? There's brick and it's kind of fun. It's painted white and so it shows a lot of things wrong with it. And then
oh yeah, that comes off really easy.
does it?
Yeah, that's what my guys like taking off. That just comes off.
Sledgehammer?
Sledgehammer, or, yeah, it's nothing to take that off. And then we have to look at the sheeting behind it, make sure that's in good shape, and then we go from there.
Is this maintenance free?
Yes, that is truly maintenance free.
So what is this?
It's a Portland cement and fiberglass, and I don't know what all is in it. It's a proprietary formula. That's what all these companies say, it's a proprietary formula. But it holds up extremely well, and it's made by a company called Burrell, and they're one of the leaders in the industry. So there are other companies that have products like this. It's very common out there.
And how does that compare in cost to the stonemason?
Less money.
A lot less, a little less?
I'd say probably at least 20% less. The only way I could prove that would be to get a quote from a stonemason and quote you this. But this goes up rapidly, and stonemasons are expensive.
But if you did want a stonemason for whatever reason, is there a protocol as to who does what when, or can it all be done at the same time?
You mean with this?
With the stonemason, say, I'm working on the front and everybody else working on the other side?
Usually we get we'd have to come in and take all the siding off.
Right.
Get it all prepared for him, and then we'd have the stonemason come in. He could be working on the part that was going to be stone,
Yeah.
putting the webbing up and getting all set to put the cement on and so on, and then set the stones. He could be doing it at the same time we're siding.
Same
the house.
time, okay.
Can you put stone as if your house is open? On the site, you know, it has like cement, you see cement.
Foundation?
Yeah.
Block that's exposed?
Yeah, with
There's products to put on that are color matched to the siding you're putting on that would be a lot less expensive than putting stone like that on. But we do three things, maybe with two things usually with that. We either side it by putting lath up and then siding over the lath, or we paint it, match the siding, or I suppose you could, I've never done it, but this could go up. Usually the best thing is just put lath up and side it down to 6 inches of the ground, and then put a freeze-board, trim board on the ground.
Would that add some insulating value to it too?
I suppose a little,
Down on the,
yeah, a little. I wouldn't say you're going to save the cost of the installation from it, but it does add a little bit.
So I don't know if you said this already, but because I don't hear that well, but is there a lot of difference in pricing between, not on product, but between installers or companies that you hire to put it on? If you check 2 or 3, are you going to come out pretty close?
I said to get 3 quotes. I still stick by that. Get 3 quotes. Anybody who's in the business for a long period of time. I've been doing this 15 years. You're not going to be in business more than 2 or 3 if you don't make a profit. Okay? So I would say my competition that is as good as I am is going to charge similar prices to what I charge. Is there someone out there who may come in low? Could be. I'd be cautious. I'm usually never the lowest one when I come in to bid my company. We're somewhere in the middle. We've been the highest and still gotten the business. I tell people this: windows, siding, doesn't matter. You can, if you buy the best product there is, you have a bad installation, you still have a bad product. If you buy vinyl siding and have a good installation, you've got a great, siding job. If you buy Hardie cement siding and have a bad installation, you'd have been happier if you'd have bought the vinyl and had a good install. So evaluate the crews or the contractors you're talking to thoroughly. That's the best advice I can give you. And the good ones are all going to be similar in price. We all know what it takes to make a profit. We all have good crews. We know what it takes to keep a crew. If I'm paying somebody minimum wage, they're not going to do the same job somebody that's making 35, 40 bucks an hour is going to.
So when you hear people say, oh, don't use them, they're like incredibly expensive, what is that about? Not necessarily the best, but
It says don't use them, they're what?
too expensive.
Well,
I mean, are you paying the highest price for the best quality or not necessarily?
not necessarily.
I'm so easy to fool, it's happened twice. I'm afraid to do this.
I mean, I know in this business, there are certain companies that are going to be very expensive, and they still get business. And they're good. They do a good job. And there are some companies that charge a lot and don't do a very good job. So evaluate your contractor through the process that I gave you. Get referrals. Get referrals.
But are you gonna give out a referral from somebody that isn't happy with your work?
No,
No.
no. I don't have any unhappy customers.
Well, you know what I mean, I always kind of blow that off as being, well.
Get referrals. They're valuable, and at least they'll be able to tell you about their experience. And get 3 quotes, get 3 proposals. You'll know when you look at the 3 proposals, usually at least, which company you feel comfortable with. If you like two of the 3, you'll have a hard time making a decision. But never, I don't know that I'd ever go with the lowest quote. I don't think so. I might go with the highest quote. It wasn't that much higher. We get jobs when we're $5,000, $6,000 higher. There's a reason for it, because we do more. You asked about the foundation. We paint it. If it doesn't, when we do a siding job, your house has to look decent. We paint the siding. We paint the block. We paint the utility meter to match the siding. If we see on your roof you don't have proper flashing, we flash it before we're done with the siding job because it protects our siding. We do all those kinds of things. Those are the little things that can cost more money, but make your home stand out when the job is done. So it's yeah, I understand it's a tough decision. There's a lot of contractors out there, and everybody's got a story. And you gotta let your head sometimes make the decision, I guess. I don't know. It's just, I understand where you're coming from. It can be tough.
Can you hang around after for questions? We gotta wrap it up for now.
Sure.
And then you can hang around after.
Sure.
Okay.
Feel free to come up front and look at all this stuff I've brought in here. I think you want to take a look at it. I can point out differences and so on.
So, first of all, thanks to Bob. Really good job.